Good morning, kids. In this video, we're going to be talking about writing to your audience and the importance of knowing who your audience is when you write.
So to get mastery, this is what you have to do.
First, why it's important. Whether you've thought about it or not, you always are writing to somebody. Sometimes you're writing to a generalized group. Sometimes you're writing to your individual peers. In this paper on the Bill of Rights that you're going to be writing, you're writing to individual peers. Okay, sometimes you're writing to an academic audience. Sometimes you're writing for leisure, pleasure. Sometimes your audience has the power to bring about change. That's really important. And sometimes you're just writing to yourself.
So depending on who's going to read your paper or you read your article or whatever you're writing, it's very important to kind of tailor your writing style to fit the purpose. And obviously if you're writing to a senator, you're going to write differently than if you're writing to your best friend. So here's some strategies on how you can do that successfully.
Always keep your audience in mind. It'll help you make sure about what you want to include as far as material, how to organize your ideas, and how to best make your point. Look here. Here's two different audiences. We have somebody speaking to a group of kids. Look how engaged those little kids are, okay? That audience knows how to captivate, or that speaker or person knows how to captivate little kids. And the left-hand picture, we have U2. U2, famous rock band. They knew how to capture their audience.
So you would obviously, if you were doing a similar topic, you would talk to kindergartners different than you'd talk to people at a rock concert.
And
much less formal, much more fun. This you'd have to be much lower vocabulary words, make it easier to understand.
But you could talk about the same topic. The U2 guy could be talking about the same topic that whoever's talking to those little kids could be talking about, covering the same material. It's just how you present the material.
So the first place you can start to think about tailoring your paper to your audience is when you're writing your hook or your introduction, because you want to try and engage the audience in some way, and the hook is the first way you're going to do that. So the kind of examples you use, the kind of things that might be interesting would vary depending on the audience.
So this is the intro, the hook to an article that I just pulled out of Newsweek or Time Magazine. Obviously, Time Magazine is probably written to somebody who's around my age. Okay, people my age like to read magazines on the weekend. So I was reading this newspaper or this article in the Newsweek or whatever, Time Magazine over the weekend. And here's the hook. It got me right away because I'm old and I'm 40. Okay. In junior high school, one of my classmates had a TV addiction back before it was normal. This boy, we'll call him Ethan, was an encyclopedia of Vicus content from the A-Team to Who's the Boss. You guys probably don't even know what the A-Team or Who's the Boss is. Then, one day, Ethan's mother made him a bold offer. If he could go a full month without watching any TV, she would give him $200. None of us thought he could do it, but Ethan quit TV just like that. His friends offered to let him cheat at their houses on Friday nights, Miami Vice nights. You guys don't even know what Miami Vice is, I'm sure. Ethan said no. 1 month later, Ethan's mom paid him $200. He went out and bought the biggest TV he could find. Okay, that hook totally hooks somebody at my age. I can totally picture Ethan. I remember him sitting in my 5th grade class, a person who's like Ethan, okay? The kid I'm thinking of, his name was Robbie. Totally can picture Robbie, addicted to TV, addicted to the A-Team, Who's the Boss, Miami Vice. Yeah, good shows from back when I was a kid.
No idea what those shows are.
Mr. Nash, different generation.
So this does not hook me at all, because if they were writing to me, it wouldn't work.
Didn't hook Mr. Nash at all.
So
He's one generation below old Miss Vipper Johnson.
So that's something to think about. Like if you're writing to your classmates, you wouldn't talk about Miami Vice and the A-Team. But if you're talking to Mrs. Vipper Johnson,
Who's ancient,
then you would. So that's one spot you can think about it is in your hook. A second spot to think about your audience is in the type of language you use. When you're writing, it's important to use language that fits your audience and matches your purpose. So this is kind of like what I said before. If you're talking to kindergartners, you're not going to use words like euphemisms and biased language because they're going to have no idea what you're talking about. But if you're writing to a senator or you're writing to a politician, you're not going to say like TTYL or
right, because they won't understand that.
That's just that's not they don't understand it. It's just too informal for that very serious cause.
Or if they're really old like me, they wouldn't know what TTL, whatever you just said was, some acronym to text animal.
So it's two different purposes: appropriateness for the task and simplicity or sophistication for the given audience.
And just here are some pictures to make you think about who are you writing to. So we got the little guys over there with the target signs. Who's your target? Who's your audience? And then we got somebody texting. Okay.
So text language is good for when you're talking to other kids,
Hmm.
but not when you're talking to adults. Or
Right.
if you're talking to other kids about a serious topic,
Right.
you probably don't want to,
And
even though they would understand it, you probably still wouldn't want to use the text style language because it's going to make your topic seem less serious.
Right. In your conclusion is another great place to reach your audience. Okay. So who is your audience? Can you ask your audience to take an appropriate action? If you're writing to a Board of Ed member, or you're writing to a senator, or you're writing to somebody who has the power to make change, are you asking them to take action? Are you appealing to the emotion of your audience? Are you making a personal association to the reader? Are you daring and challenging the reader to dispute your ideas? These are all ways that you can address your particular audience in a way to connect to them in the conclusion also. And that's how you get.
So if you
Plus.
picked this category, we want to see when in your paper you're writing for a specific audience. So we want to see that you've made some choices in the types of words you use, the type of hook you used, the type of formal tone of the article that you use would be appropriate for whatever the audience of your paper is.
And that's how you get your A+.